Welcome to the Stat Guy Show, episode number 12. My special guest for tonight is 16-time world champion, No Prep Kings Season 2 champion.
Yes, sir.
A guy who says, why have one knee surgery when you can get two done at the same time?
Get it over with.
The legend, Mike Murillo. What's up, man?
What's up, Stat Guy? How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Man, I'm sorry I had to take this into the office, which is boring background, but we got a storm moving in and can't hear shit.
That crazy Texas weather you're talking about.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yep. Figures the storm rolls in at the same time I'm doing something that I haven't done in several months. So anyway,
Yeah.
It's all good.
So I got to ask you, man, I have had 3 knee surgeries myself, one of them being an ACL. So I want to know why you had the knee surgeries and why did you get both done at the same time?
Really timing. Basically, both my knees were shot. I right before I went into the hospital for a heart procedure last year. Literally, the night that I'm supposed to go in, we were loading up, getting ready for a race, and I twisted it and blew the meniscus out. So it is one of those necessities. You know, when is there going to be a perfect time? I mean, right now we're out of pocket. We can't record street racing. We can't do anything during this 5-6 month period. So why not just get it done now? Because, if I just get one done, the other one's still just as jacked up, and, I'm not going to be able to do it for another year or so. So it was more of timing and necessity than anything else.
Okay, I got you. Now, I've had one at a time, and I know how difficult things are, especially when it comes to simple things like using the bathroom. How is it when you can't? How is it when both of your knees are?
I got a funny story for you. So while I was there, I tried to go doo-doo time before I went in for the knee surgery because I kind of figured out that I wasn't going to be able to get up, probably for a couple days. So I tried for a very long time to go doo-doo time before I went, and it just never happened. So by the time I had the surgery done, I mean, I'm already prairie dog, and you can imagine, but I had to wait because, man, I wasn't going to take it, in the bed. You know what I mean? I'm not going to in a bucket. So anyways, that was really stressing me the hell out. More so than the knee surgery was, what am I going to do about going doo-doo time?
Yeah, nice. I'm sure you've started rehab now, huh? How often is that every day? Every other day?
It's 3 times a week. It's 3 times a week. So right now we have a guy that comes to my house, and he runs me through the ringer, and Lord have mercy, by the time he gets done with me, I got deer legs. But I'm supposed to start the actual rehab, going to a gym or what have you. I believe that's supposed to start next week.
Okay, cool. That'll be
as long as it doesn't get in the way of everything else I got to do. Next weekend we're going to go pick up the new car. And so I told him yesterday, I said, man, you got to let's get this rehab in because I got shit to do, brother. You know what I mean? So yeah. I said, I'll be back, but I gotta leave for the weekend.
Right. Yeah. Before we get into the new car or this season of No Prep Kings, all that stuff, I want to live in the past for a little bit here. I want to talk about, so out of all your championships, you won 16 world championships. Which one was the most, what was your favorite? Which one meant the most out of all of them?
Well, the obviously the highest profile one that we won was season 2 of NPK. It just, none of us have really raced on a stage to where there's that many fans and this much following before. I've with NMRA, NMCA, Fun Ford Week, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, most of the people that were in the stands were the people that came with the racers. You know what I mean? So it was just a whole different. Now, whether it meant more to me, that's not necessarily true. I mean, we have a couple really big wins like Streetcar Super Nationals, which is an event that happens only once a year. That's not even considered one of our championships, but we won that thing twice, which was unheard of during that era. And so that meant, that probably meant more to me just winning that race than a couple of the championships. So it's kind of hard to answer that question, but if you were to look at it from a perspective of looking in as a fan, probably the season 2 NPK was our biggest one.
Okay, let's talk about that one a little bit. As with every season, it came down to the last race of the season, and you and Larry both knew that you needed to get Ryan Martin out. One, you needed to draw him in the first round, and one, you need to get rid of him. What were your thoughts when Larry drew him? Did you think I might win this? I might win this thing tonight.
Actually, to be 100% honest with you, I was just praying that I could make it to the back to number 2 spot, just so that Ryan may have some mercy on me and split some of the winnings when he wins that championship. I mean, I'm being totally honest, and it really didn't dawn on me that we really have a chance probably until the second or third round. When Larry took him out, I mean, we were all ecstatic, but at this point I'm hoping, man, I just got to get up to number 2 spot. We need to make some money.
Right. Yeah. In that competition, I'll tell you, talk about that competition that year, because it was basically between you and Ryan and Larry most of the year. Chuck had a pretty good year too, but you guys had beat each other back and forth all year too. There was not one of you guys that was dominating the other person.
No.
So the competition between you three was intense all the way up to that, including that last race.
Yeah, it was. In fact, we were in the number 2 spot for several races until I got this brainy idea to switch from big stuff over to fuel tech, which nobody does that. I mean, I'm not even wired like that. I'm a very conservative racer, and switching over to fuel tech, I don't know what the hell got into me. But we did that from one weekend of a race to the next weekend because it was back-to-back races. And anyways, but at the same time, I knew if we didn't make the switch, Ryan's getting faster as the year goes on. And at this point, he has to make a mistake for me to win.
Yeah.
And so I knew we needed to be able to make more power to where if we did have a heads-up race, I had the best chance possible, for an outcome of being able to beat him. So, it was more of back to the same thing, a necessity, and we did what we had to do, but it kind of backfired on me because that very next race we went out first round, which we hadn't gone out first round on any of the races up to that point.
Right. Yeah. That was an awesome season.
Yeah.
Let's fast forward now to season 5 of No Prep Kings this past season. Before the big fire, how was your season going in your thoughts, in your mind? How was it going at that point?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I normally don't sugarcoat shit, and I don't make excuses either, but we're taking a knife to a gunfight. I mean, you can clearly see the competition is getting better and faster, and so are we, but just not at the same rate that some of the other teams are going. Mm-hmm. And so, we were a mid-pack player, and I was fighting. Again, I'm a very realistic person, but I'm fighting just to try to get into the top 10. And we were close. Before the fire, we were close, and we were running good. We beat Lutz a couple different times. Everybody knows how fast he was going, and we beat Kai Kelly towards the end there. And I mean, we have a car. It's just not a top 5 car, and we can't polish that turd. It's as good as it's going to get. And so, I think if we wouldn't have had the fire and continued on, there might have been a possibility to get into the top 10. But I mean, there's some heavy hitters, man. I raced with a bunch of bad MFers, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no ifs, ands, buts about it.
Yeah, I hear you, man. And without getting into too many details, if you don't want to, about the fire, what would you take away from that? Are you doing anything differently since that fire, as far as inside the car, how you're doing other things?
You can ask me whatever you want. If I don't want to answer, I'll make something up. But
okay.
I mean, there was just a perfect recipe for disaster. There were several factors that led to the fire and me almost being in the middle of it. Well, I was in the middle of it, but you know what I'm saying. But I mean, from me being overweight to, we put a brand new fire system in the car at the beginning of the year, but I had never pulled the pin. And, I'm trying to pull the pin as I'm going down the track, and it won't come out. And so there was that disaster. So I didn't have a fire suppression system at all. I might as well not even had one on. And then once I stopped, I couldn't get out, between my knee problems and my big gut overhanging my belts, because that's what we figured out that was keeping me in there was, normally I'll swing my lap belts to the outside before I'm about to get out of the car and under normal conditions. But under these conditions, I took the belts loose, but I never moved them because I'm still driving and trying to pull that pin. And so what essentially happened was with the belts in my lap, when I lean forward, I kick my left leg out. But when I lean forward, my gut goes over the top of the belts, and then it just kind of locks me in. And so that's what happened. And I figured that out literally laying in bed at night, going, man, that tugging feeling that I felt and I couldn't get loose. I felt that before. And what is that? You know what I mean? And finally it dawned on me, because, getting in and out of the car here at the shop, I've done that a couple of times. I went to get out and I was like, oh, I can't get out, and then grab the belt to move them. So that's really what happened.
Yeah.
It was just like I said, it was just a recipe, several bad things happening at the same time.
Yeah, and I was curious. I asked a couple drivers this, but I know Swanstrom Justin was big on safety, and he said something that dawned on me, was like, he likes to get in and out of his car with all his stuff on. He'll literally practice getting in and out, because when something like a fire or anything like that happens, your mind's not exactly 100% right, and your functions might not function right. So the practice, beating it into your mind,
Yeah, very true. Very true.
So
it'll be different. It'll be different. Hopefully there's not going to be a next time, but
right.
Mab's Fab Works has already come down here from Memphis or wherever they're from, Mississippi area, and they put a brand new fire suppression system on the car. It's even got sensors. If it gets over a certain temperature, they'll go off, kind of like a sprinkler. It's some state-of-the-art stuff that we're really excited to have on both the new car and with LaFonda coming back out. So
nice.
Hopefully, like I said, hopefully we won't be in that situation. But if we are, I'll be much more prepared.
Nice.
And you would think a seasoned racer like me would be prepared, but I normally don't catch on fire. And that's my first major fire that I've ever been involved with. And I'll be better on the next one.
Nice. Good. So the season up until then didn't go without any drama as far as off the track. Team Texas split up into Team South and Team Texas. Now, honestly, from a fan's point, I thought there was going to be a lot more drama. Could have been a lot more drama involved with that. Talk about that situation, how it kind of went down, and what the aftermath of it, if there is any.
Well, that's something that I'm very opinionated on, and I don't like to be negative, but this loyalty is few and far between with several people, and just because I'm wired different, it doesn't mean we should judge other people. But man, it is what it is, brother. I mean, they felt like they could do better, or they felt like Finney and I were holding them back. I'm not sure. I still to this day don't know exactly what the thoughts were. But bottom line, Finney and I are a team, and there will never be a wedge driven in between us. So if it's just a table for two, so be it. But we're happy. Hey, just like the Dallas Cowboys, you can talk all the shit you want about the Dallas Cowboys, but there's only one Dallas Cowboys. You know what I mean? And so we're Team Texas, and that's all there is to it.
Yes. Is there now? There's only two of you left. Now I know the show really tries to sell the team aspect of it in a drag racing situation, but are you guys looking to add more people to Team Texas? Is that something that you care about, really, or no?
I can't speak for Birdman, but for me, two of us is enough. But for how the show wants to go, and I get that, it's good to have 4 or 5 people on the same team. But I really don't know how to answer that either. I mean, it doesn't matter to me whether we get more team players. And I tell you one thing, we're not going to beg anybody to be on our team. You know what I mean? If we offer it and they don't want it, man, so be it. But I'm not begging anybody. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned a little bit about it, but the competition level last year compared to previous seasons, it's almost like night and day. I mean, back in the first season 1, 2, and 3, pretty much it was you, Larry, Birdman, Kai, Lizzie. Like that was Brian. That was about it. Like there really wasn't. Now, like honestly, there's 10 to 15 cars that could win a race every
absolutely.
week,
Absolutely.
And talk about how that forces you to up your game. You know what I mean? Like, what do you got to do now? I mean, what's the guy got to do now to even compete at that level?
Well, I mean, bottom line, you have to have a car that's capable of running the 70s. I mean, if you, under good conditions, can't knock off a 370, a mid 370, then you won't even be in the top 5.
Yeah.
So with that being said, we're changing our approach, but it's staying the same as we have in the past. The difference is we're going to have a top caliber car. Finally, we're going to have the right tools in the tool shed. I know one thing that's really bothered our fans is on the new car we're going to be running a Hemi versus a big block Ford, and for our fans that are watching, maybe I can explain it here to where they understand a little bit better. But it's not just a matter of whether we can make the power, because I truly feel like we can make the same power with a big block Ford as I can with a Hemi or a Proline motor, what have you. The difference is reliability. And when I do break it, am I going to be able to purchase parts to fix it?
Yeah.
And that second part is what's really going on, is not having the parts, not being able to just buy another crankshaft, not being able to, have a bunch of pistons that we can put right back in it. So, I'm having a problem with parts once we start leaning on it, we start breaking stuff. And, just like, when we had our backfire, we dropped an an exhaust valve. We dropped an exhaust valve, and that's what caused the fire. And so, right now the heads are still not fixed. You know what I mean? So, if we're in the middle of racing, and I only got one set of the C heads, and so if we're in the middle of racing, am I going to be able to get those fixed? So,
right.
Coming into this year, we're going to have not only one motor, but we're going to have two motors, and so we will have some backup parts. I can guarantee you this: we will have the most horsepower out of any of the cars that are going to be in this year's lineup. Period.
Nice.
Our motor's already made with low boost numbers, 4,600 at the hub.
Holy shit.
And I saw the numbers. They're low boost numbers compared to what we can run and what we might possibly be running. So, I'm super excited. Now, am I arrogant about it? No, because, shit happens. I've always believed in don't talk shit, because then,
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I'm just going to, just do my thing. We're going to do our thing, and we're going to have fun this year. There's a lot less of me. I've already lost 50 pounds. I'm trying to lose 80 to 90 pounds by the time we start racing.
Hell yeah.
This is the most serious and the most excited I've been in many, many, many moons. Despite, our cancer problems that I have, which I'm sure we'll talk about, but I'm super stoked. And that's what really keeps me going, is it keeps my head above water when it comes to depression and that kind of stuff, is having something to look forward to.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know how soon we'll be on top again, but we are going to be gunning for everyone.
Hell yeah. Now talk about your new car. So you unveiled it. Well, you unveiled the rendering of it a couple months ago.
Yeah, we unveiled the rendering of it a few months ago. Right now, we got a super guy that's up in Bowling Green that's getting it to a roller, and then we're going to bring it down, and then Greg Hubble Race Cars will take over and finish it off. We're going to have all hands on deck. The guy's name is Billy. It's built by Billy up there in Bowling Green, and he does some unbelievable work, and he was able to help us out, donate some time to help us out. But we have all the parts that we need now. In 3 weeks, we plan on going to pick it up, and then at least 5 or 6 of us will converge on it. And I'm sure we'll make some videos, but it's going to be one of the best episodes of Pimp My Ride. We're going to get this sucker done in 2 months' time, I'm sure. And we're just hopefully, we obviously we need to go test with it prior to run it in competition. But right now, everything's happening like it should. So we're looking forward to debuting it.
Perfect. So I don't know if you just said there, but you might have to use LaFonda at first.
Yes, yeah. LaFonda will be ready. LaFonda should be up and going in 3 weeks. We should be able to test. Now, the problem that I have with testing in 3 weeks is I'm probably not going to be ready. I probably won't be cleared. I got to get these knees a little bit stronger getting in and out of the car. But the LaFonda should be done, and should be parked off to the side, watching her little brother go together.
Nice. Hell yeah. What is the grand scheme? What is the grand, the final resting spot for LaFonda? What do you plan on using that full time for?
Well, that's why we got rid of Smokey. I don't know if you remember the car Smokey that we built in 17 days or 14 days, whatever crazy it was. Yep. And I don't have that in me no more. I cannot do a thrash like that. We did it We did it with LaFonda last year. We did it with Smokey the season before. Oh my God, I just can't do it. I can't hang with that. I think that's part of the reason it almost killed me. But basically the grand scheme of it is LaFonda is outgunned. You know, that cannot be our primary car if we're trying to compete. Now, if we wanted to show up and have a good time, that's my girl. But
Yeah.
we just can't. So with that being said, once we get the new car running like we think it should, and not even that, just as long as we know we can make it from A to B, and I hate saying that, we're not allowed to say that, by the way, but as soon as we get some good A to B passes in it, then we can put small tires on the Fonda, because as you can see, and I'm sure all the fans can see, that's really the direction that the show is headed. You know, small tires, and you know, believe it or not, I don't know where Reaper gets his information, but if that guy tells you something when it comes to what's coming, man, you can count on it. And he told me this small tire craze was about to happen like almost a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And just look what direction it's going. So I should have listened to him a little bit closer. And now I do. But anyway, so LaFonda will be our small tire car.
Okay, nice. And now you're going to be running the same combo, right, from last year in your new car. Now, it seems like there ain't going to be too many turbos this upcoming year. What are your thoughts about that? I know the rules haven't come out yet. They're not, the rules, I think, won't affect you, right? You're going to stick with turbos no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, I feel, you know, let's face it, man. I'm in the final quarter of my career, I'm sure. Man, I just don't like the change. You know, I mean, we're already changing as it is, but I'm a turbo guy. I've always been a turbo guy. And this is just my opinion, but what could possibly be worse than to go to an NPK race and it's either a ProCharger or a screw blower? ProCharger or a screw blower. Every once in a while, nitrous car. ProCharger or screw blower. Man, that's boring. You know what I mean? To me, it's
no, I agree.
I want to stay turbos. I like it quieter in the car. I like to be able to hear, you know, and I'm just, you know, I have so many good people that are in our corner, from you know, HPT, you know, Turbo Smart, you know, so many turbo companies, you know, that have been in our corner from day one, and that's just a big slap in the face. You know what I mean? Me going to put the ProCharger on just because I need to go a little bit faster. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, and again, that's my opinion. I'm not trying to put my opinion off on everybody, but that's how I'm wired. That's how I roll, and you won't see a ProCharger on my car. You just won't.
So I'm sure you've seen the schedule released thus far. What are your opinion about the first 5 weeks, and how much money is it going to be this year to do all this?
It's crazy. Isn't that crazy?
That's insane.
We got to be nuts to be doing this, but hey, I'm telling you, I can't speak for anybody else, but dude, I'm excited. I really am excited, and the fact that it's 5 weeks in a row, I'm okay with that too. You know what I mean? So what are you gonna do? You're gonna say no? I'm not gonna miss. I'm gonna miss one or two of them. No, we're gonna make it. We'll be there.
Right. Yeah.
I'm good with it.
Yeah, that's kind of the common theme. Is like nobody really likes it, but like you're still gonna go. Like you're not gonna not be there. So you just gotta deal with it.
We can bitch and moan all we want. This sucks. That's ridiculous. What time do I need to be there?
Exactly.
We're gonna be there.
Yep. So the grade 8, the grade 8's always been a big discussion ever since it started last year, and I've asked the question to a lot of drivers on here, and I've gotten a lot of different responses. What was your opinion on the grade 8 this past year, and what do you think it should continue as how it is, or do you think they should switch it?
Absolutely not. Of course, you're talking to somebody that never was in the grade 8, so but I just feel like I'm okay with the grade 8, but the points, how they did it with the points, I'm not a fan of, because what that means is just the top 8 guys can run away with it completely, and all the rest of all the teams that are racing literally don't have a chance in hell. So I mean, how do you fix it? Get into the top 8, but once again, you know, I mean, it just I'm not a big fan of it. But I've also heard they're going to do something different this year. Now, whether it be grade 8 or grade 10 or grade 12, I mean, the grade 8 obviously works out well because you can pull off 3 rounds of racing on a Friday night. So
yeah, and that's obviously what fans want to see, right? They want to see the
Yep.
top guys racing on Friday night. So of course they like that. But
What do I know?
yeah, me either. And this year now, so the logistics of how it, what are your thoughts about the logistics of how you think it's going to go down this year? As far as, so there was 40 some cars that raced in the Invitational last year. Okay, there was always like 10 cars racing their way in, and you had some futures. You have a lot of guys coming back who didn't race last year, like Eric Kay, Kelly Blueblaw, Randy Williams. Plus, you have like someone like Manny, who I'm sure is going to want to get in the Invitational.
Yeah.
There's like a lot more. It's, you could count. I could count almost 60 cars that want to be there. I mean, are they going to do like 20 cars racing their way in, or are they going to do like 20 in the futures class? There's just going to be a lot of cars there, it seems, which is great for everything, right? But
yeah,
it seems like there's going to be a lot of cars there this year.
And it'll all thin out too as the season gets going. I mean, it's no different than the beginning of the season when you have just about every team is there and they show up, they're ready to go. But whether it be finances or parts breakage, which is kind of the same thing, or personal whatever, that will thin out as the season goes on. But they're
Oh boy,
there will be a ton of people fighting for an opportunity to get on the big show on Saturday. But it'll be interesting to see for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I want to ask you about. So there's a break in the middle of the No Prep King season. There's about 5 or 6 weeks. I'm guessing there's probably be some street stuff going on, maybe being filmed during that time.
Yeah, it might be. They'll do the street stuff. Typically, that's what they'll do is they'll knock out some street shows, and whether it be the 405 or whether it be all of us combined again. But that'll also be a time for all the teams to lick their wounds and regroup to get a stab at it for the final part of the season.
Yeah, for sure. So Mike, 2 nights ago, you had a big YouTube video. I'm sure most people watching here saw the video. If they haven't, do you want to maybe touch on it a little bit and
Sure.
what your video was about? And then I have maybe a question or two to ask you.
Sure. Yep. So, the video I wouldn't want to force anybody to watch that 30-minute video. I probably wouldn't watch that 30-minute video if I didn't have to make it. But unfortunately, I was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer August of last year. And it really was a life changer, obviously. And so it's just something that our family has to deal with. It's been a serious blow, obviously, to us. But we're going to deal with it. And right now I'm winning. We're it's in what they call partial remission. But anything. I mean, cancer, I'm sure as everybody has cancer stories in their families. I mean, I lost my very first wife to breast cancer. My 2 oldest daughters lost their mom. They were 10 and 6, and she actually passed away on our daughter's 10th birthday. Mm-hmm. And so, it's something that's already kind of in our family, and it just sucks, man. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. But, the funny thing about it is I've never smoked a day in my life. I've never been a smoker. However, for 12, 14 years straight, I did dyno tuning, and I was on a dyno probably 8 to 10 hours a day. And so that's, if you're always looking for a reason why, how did this happen? Why did it happen? And if I had to point at anything, and I don't think I touched on that during my video, but I'm pretty sure that's where it all went down and what had happened. Because I even had a doctor friend of ours that would bring us a carbon monoxide alarm, one of those fancy ones. He brought it up there, and the sucker was going off all the whole damn time that I just threw it away. And so I'm up there sucking on fumes for 10, 12 years straight. So I'm sure that's what probably did it, but who knows? I mean, it could be, like my buddy said, us licking the lead off of our Matchbox cars when we were younger. Who knows? It just, you just never know. However, it's something I'm gonna have to deal with for the rest of my life. But it's not gonna. My biggest thing is I don't want it to define me, and I don't want people to feel sorry for me. Please don't. When you come and see me, I mean, don't look at me like, oh, this poor bastard. here's the dollar. You know what I mean? Just just treat me normal. I mean, it's going good right now, but it may not tomorrow. Who knows? But like I said earlier, I have something to look forward to. We're super excited about positive things that are going on right now. Every time I go in there once a month, basically, and I think this is the longest that I've not had to go in, because last time they checked, all the tumors had shrunk over 50%.
Nice.
And they're going down. I'm sure they're down even more. In fact, the one of the doctors that did my CAT scan for my knees, he looked at it because he knew about it, and he said, "Man, they look really good." And so that's pretty much all he would say about it. But he said they shrunk dramatically, and he was a knee guy. So, so I'm excited. I get a little bit emotional about it. Just think about what my family has had to go through, and my son. That's the biggest thing. So.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But anyways, we'll get through it.
Yeah, dude. I saw the video, and like I told you earlier, I'm like when it gets to emotional things for me and stuff, I'm a deflector. I'm like, I don't want to think about it. I don't, let's move on, stuff like that. What I was thinking about was, how I would react in that situation and how I would be able to do a video. Like, so my question to you is, how hard was it to do a video talking about that?
Well, back to, the theme of the show is probably necessity. I keep saying that. It was a necessity because I owe it to my fans. I owe it to my other friends that I haven't talked to directly about it. We all have people in our lives that we haven't spoke to in 3 or 4 years, or maybe 10 years, but they're still friends and family. And there's just so many people that were just hearing rumors, and we just had to put the rumor mill to sleep. And I owed it to everybody that's in my life to know what's going on, and it's impossible to sit down with everybody individually and say, hey, this is what we got going on. This is what we're doing. So I thought it was best, and I thought it was time to just make a little video about it, and try to address everything that's involved with it, and put it out there so I can move on.
Yeah, for sure, man. And for somebody who doesn't really know how, and hasn't had a family member, or hasn't gone through anything of themselves, at this point right now, how does it affect your day to day?
Well, what's really affecting me more than anything is my knees. So I'm still trying to recover from the knees, but with the medicine that I'm on, I have quite a bit of side effects. When I first started taking it, it was causing rashes. I looked like the one of those Marvel characters. It was crazy, the bumps that were on my arms, but I also get a lot of nerve tingling.
Okay.
Like I said, that's part of it. So, that's probably what causes me more discomfort than anything, is just the nerves on my feet and my legs, and just everything is super sensitive right now. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of a side effect, but man, I'll take it. I don't look, man, there are thousands and hundreds of thousands and possibly millions of people that have cancer that are going through chemo. And man, I'm just blessed and fortunate that I'm not having to go through chemo. And I hope one day that I won't have to, but there is. And so, every time I want to feel sorry for myself, I think about, the people that didn't make it, the people that are fighting. I got a real good friend of mine right now that I've known for years, Mark Harwell, who used he was one of the founders of CarTech back in the day, my very first sponsor ever. And we literally have not talked to each other in years, but we just started talking to one another. And he was diagnosed in July of 2021, and he's got stage 4, and he's got it much worse than I do. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking about him. So, I don't know what question you asked me, and I don't even know. I'm just rambling, but it sucks, but there's a lot of people that have it worse than I do. So I'm not going to be the one that's going to complain about it, for sure.
I got you, man. I think I can speak for everybody. It says it takes a lot. It takes a big person, a big man, to even come out and make a video like that, and to make it public like that. So I think for myself, your fans, man, it's all love, buddy. We're here with you, man. We're here.
I appreciate that.
Get all the way through it, man, and it becomes totally clear. And and everybody, including myself, your fans, like we're definitely thinking about you and praying for you, man, for sure.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate that.
If you want, Mike, we'll take some questions. There's a lot of people online right now, so I'll watch as they come and I'll post it. What I want to do, I want a couple fun things here. So I'm a football guy. I played football in high school, college, and I played 10 years of semi-pro.
Did you really?
I read an article, I think Drake Illustrated did it on you a few years back.
Yeah.
Football used to be a big part of your life as a youngster, but your dad played semi-pro football for a long time too.
Yes, he did.
Talk about that. Talk about growing up in Ohio and playing football.
So growing up, that was, I didn't start racing until I was in my 20s, by the way. So football was my life from as early as I can remember to in high school. And so my dad was a semi-pro football. He was a quarterback, and he actually was invited to try out for the Washington Redskins during the Joe Theismann era. But my mom, who they were divorced shortly after, but my mom told him, this is of course according to him, that if he went, she wouldn't be here when he came back. And so I don't know. I've never even talked to my mom about that, I don't think. But either way, I know for sure that he was invited to try out, but he didn't. If you talk to him, he won the Super Bowl. But so anyways, football was a huge part of my life. I mean, the memories that I have, and he was he was one of those quarterbacks to where he got in fights, I can't tell you how many times I went to the hospital with him and waited for him to get out so we could go home, from broken ribs, concussions to, there was one time and I'll tell you this and move on to something else, but I'm sitting there watching, I'm standing next to the coach, and I think I'm 5-6 years old. And it was a late hit. My dad had just thrown a touchdown, arms in the air, and he got leveled. I mean, just drilled. And he rolls to his back, then rolls to his front, gets up, and then the lineman that hit him wasn't quite up yet. And my dad got up, and you see him take his helmet off, and right away the coach is screaming at him, no. And he took it by, that old school quarterback, face mask.
Yep.
He grabbed it, and he just hit this guy in the ear hole on his helmet and fucking put him out completely, knocked him out. And of course, then Dad was suspended for I don't know how many games after that. But anyway, so football was my life. My dreams were to be a professional football player. In fact, one of my biggest regrets ever was I actually moved from Ohio to Texas only to play football.
Yeah.
Because my uncle who lived here, because my dad's side of the family is from Texas, he told me, he said, if you ever want to have a chance in the pros or going to college, you got to get away from that AAA school that you're in Ohio, and you need to come to a 5A school, blah, blah, blah. I was literally on the next, this is during the summer of right after my sophomore year. I was on a plane within a week, and I flew to Texas to come live with him and play ball. Unfortunately, I quit 2 games into my junior season, and it's one of the biggest regrets that I have. And I remember the coach even telling me that if you quit this, you will be a quitter for the rest of your life. And when things get rough, you're going to just quit. And so I think that's what's driven me in my career, because obviously I've been beat up a lot when it comes to racing, but I've always come back for more. But But anyways, I quit 2 games into my junior season, and that was it, man. It took 2 to 4 years before I got into racing, and that took that void in my life that was not there anymore. So that's sure. My football story.
Nice. Yeah, I had read that article, and I read that your uncle wanted you to come to Texas where it's a bigger exposure, and I'm like, yes, Texas is huge exposure, and maybe Ohio wasn't back in the day, but Ohio now is
now
huge football place as well.
It is.
So I read that. It's okay. Yeah. We have a question here, Mike. You're selling some new T-shirts. How can somebody get a hold of that? Where can they go to buy the new Mike? I think it's a LaFonda T-shirt, I believe.
Yeah. So what we did is, like, the last time we had a problem with LaFonda was back in 2015, I want to say, and I rolled it over a guardrail, and so we came up with this LaFonda Rehab shirt, and we got her all fixed up. And so now we had another situation, so we're doing a Rehab 2 shirt. And so, and that's the other thing I know I hadn't talked about. So, like, we're not going to do GoFundMe's. again, I feel like there's so many other people in this world that can take advantage of stuff like that. You know, we don't fall into that category. It's not that we think we're too good for that. It's just I consciously don't feel real comfortable with doing GoFundMe's when it comes to that. However, I'll sell you my shit. You know what I mean? I'll sell you some shirts. I'll sell you my old parts. I got some more stuff that I'm going to waffle off, you know? So but as far as finding the shirt, so we have a Shopify, and there should be a link on our fan page. And if there's not, well, I know there is, but if we'll put another link when we get done here, I'll put something up to where they can just click and go to it easily.
Okay, perfect. Great. That was one of the questions. Another question, somebody wants to know, I'll put it up here. Who is your biggest rival in NPK, and exactly how pissed off were you after being DQ'd in Tucson?
Oh man, my biggest rival is it's probably Ryan. Ryan and I go a ways back even before NPK, yeah. And so you know, I would say Ryan, and that's everybody's rival. But how pissed off was I for Tulsa or Tucson? I'm sorry, I'm still bitter. I'm still bitter, petty, and vengeful. I'm still extremely pissed off because, you know, the same people that were bitching about Finney and I testing are the same people that were also doing it. And we had video footage of them testing. And, you know, but again, I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to blame that on Pat Musey because it's much easier to blame it on him. But that was some jacked up stuff right there. So I don't know if you can tell, but I'm still riled up about that.
A little bit. Nicole wants to hear an embarrassing story. Now, I definitely want to hear an embarrassing story too, but I remember seeing a video, and I think it was it Boosted, when Boosted did some interviews a while back, but there was a story involving your RV and a drive-through, and I was wondering if you wanted to share that story, because when I heard that years ago, I thought that was one of the funniest stories I've ever heard.
Well, unfortunately for me, most of my embarrassing stories are shitter involved, whether it be with the RV or whether it be with a trailer. And so this particular one is probably the granddaddy of them all. So we were coming home from a race, and my wife drove her vehicle because we raced in North Texas. And so my wife drove her Explorer or whatever we had back then. It wasn't that long ago. So it's not like it was back in the day. But anyway, so, and my guy Jeremy was driving my truck and my trailer. And so he comes out of the diesel pumps, and we're at this particular truck stop is attached to a chicken place. I think it's called Chicken Express, if I remember right. And so, but anyway, so when you get through filling up, you kind of go and you take a left, and then you go right behind the Chicken Express, and then you go out and you go home. Well, anyway, so we had got our chicken. So I got a box of chicken sitting in my lap, and we're just sitting there watching him fill up. And then he gets done, and I see him pulling off the pumps. And he took a left a lot sooner than most people do, and so I know he's really close to the Chicken Express drive-through in the order window, and or the order box, not the window, but where you order your food from. And then next thing I know, I saw the trailer rock back and forth, and then you just see, God, I hate to be nasty, but you just see 15 gallons of shit and vinegar coming out the bottom of the trailer. He had knocked the pooper pipe off completely, and it literally dumped because it was full. It had 2 weeks of stuff in there.
Yeah.
It literally dumped it all at where you order your freaking food, bro. I'm not even exaggerating. And it was, I remember I got so mad I threw my box of chicken. I'd just taken a bite out of the leg, and I threw it out the window, and I couldn't believe it. Could not believe it. Then the manager's coming out, and anyways, it shut the whole chicken place down for hours while they, in their water hose, he was just shooting the water hose up in the air because it wouldn't reach all the way out to the order window.
Oh man,
the order block. So, anyways, yeah, that was probably the granddaddy of them all. But I got a bunch. One time I knocked the whole shitter off the bottom of the trailer going over some railroad tracks. So yeah, I got a bunch of embarrassing stories, and they all revolve around the pooper.
Nice, that's awesome. I love it. I got a question here, Mike. When it all ends, when your racing career finally comes to an end, what do you want your legacy to be? Like, what do you want people to say and remember Mike Murillo for when it comes to racing?
The guy that never quit. The the guy that gave it everything he had. Hopefully I can inspire some racers. But life is full of shit sandwiches. And, the difference is, as I get older, is it's not a matter of, I used to sit there and worry about what's going to happen. Is something going to happen? Now I'm more of shit is going to happen. Just how am I going to deal with it? And so, the biggest thing is this, but at the same time, my never quit attitude has also probably caused all my financial problems, because I got to go out there and win the next one for the Gipper. You know what I mean? It's just,
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's one of those, I didn't even want my son. My son's here at the shop working on customers' cars, and he started his own business, and I truly didn't want that for him, because I know the struggles that we've been through when it comes to owning your own business and working on cars for a living. And so, it just the biggest thing is just to never quit. Hopefully more people can learn from my experience with cancer and how we're going to battle it. And, whatever happens in the end, I put up a hell of a fight, and because I won't quit. There's no quit. There's no bitch in my blood. I will do everything I got to do. In fact, when they told me the diagnosis, I didn't want to hear anymore. I just, tell me what I got to do. You know what I mean? Just tell me what I got to do.
Nice. I got one more question for you, Mike, before we go. And hang on, it was right here. I just lost it. It's gone. These comments go so fast, I can't keep up with them.
While you're trying to find it, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Hell, we've already been on for 47 minutes. I appreciate you even sticking around to listen to me. So I just want to tell everybody how much we appreciate and love them.
Okay, Mike, I can't find it, so I'm just going to ask one more question. When you aren't racing, when you aren't working on your race car, what do you and Lisa and the kids like to do? What do you spend your time doing, and when you're not doing the racing stuff?
Well, believe it or not, all of our vacations revolve around racing. I know it's crazy. It has for years. We normally don't plan just normal vacations. It's more of the kids know what's on the calendar. We have 6 kids, by the way, 4 girls, 2 boys, and they know where we're going to go. And so, like right now, the one that excites us most is this will be the 3rd year in a row that we go to Colorado. And so all the kids will fly in, and then they will all be at the race, and then we'll do some vacation stuff while we're there. But, Lisa and I really don't, we, believe it or not, we like cruising around and going looking at stuff, some history stuff. You know what I mean? We like getting in our vehicle and driving to Houston and just go drive around. We're really, we're not, David Chappelle always said, there's a difference between being poor and being broke. We're not poor, but we're broke all the time, from this racing deal. So, we don't have the money, and nor I don't even know if we did have it, we would do it anyways, but we don't go to Mexico. We don't go to, trips and to Hawaii and stuff like that. It's just not our thing, man. We love doing stuff as a family, go to dinner. We go to dinner a lot, as a family, but we're pretty simple when it comes to that. We don't do a whole lot.
Okay. Gotcha. Andy Murillo says, you like throwing bootleg fireworks at your family and friends.
That's my baby brother. Yes, I do. And I put that kid, I put him through so much shit growing up. Oh my God. Love him to death though. Hey, he was a professional tennis player. Okay.
Really?
I'll have you know, he's only beaten his big brother one time. One time has he beaten me when it comes to tennis. Yes, I play tennis.
And you played him when he was a professional? You guys played on the side, or you beat him before he became a professional?
Well, now you got to ask some questions to really to really uncover me, But yeah. So anyway, so he started getting good enough to whoop my ass about 9, and I stopped playing him. So the first time he beat me, I was like, "That's it. We're not playing anymore."
Yeah.
But we played hundreds of times up to that.
Nice. Well, Mike, hey, man, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come on the show. Like I said, you're an inspiration to me, to all your fans. You're a legend in my eyes. You're a legend in drag racing. I've been watching you even before No Prep King. So it was an honor to have you on the show, man. Thank you so much, and I wish you the best of luck this year.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I look forward to talking to you again.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right. See you later.